Have you ever stopped to think that unlike you, this person really has never experienced, never had to face the pain that losing you might entail? Knowing that you are no longer there, that is to say, you have. Meanwhile, you are familiar with this person's rejection. You have cried over it, suffered from it, felt bad at the thought of not being able to be with them and what it entails. Not being able to be with them. In other words, you have experienced everything. You have had to face all of this, and precisely facing these ideas has triggered certain types of emotions within you. Because emotions arise from our thoughts. Thoughts, sometimes even fears, right? That cause us a certain anxiety, a certain discontent. In other words, there is a prior thought that drives the emotion. What happens? When I know that a person has feelings for me, it doesn't matter whether I am taking advantage of those feelings to have something with them or not. That is to say, I am aware that this person is interested in me. I am aware that I have the option to be with them, and that exempts me from any thought that might harm me with the idea that it cannot be. It is precisely the thoughts of this cannot be, this person might not love me anymore, or they might not want to be with me anymore, that distress me, cause me harm, and those emotions of wanting to do everything to be with them or feeling bad. So I have to understand one thing. Many times we expect to see a reaction from the other person when they lose us, when in reality that person hasn't lost us. And we've talked about this a lot on the channel, but that's how it is. That is to say, if a person is not with me because they are rejecting me, or they were fine with me, but at a given moment decide they no longer want to continue, no longer want to be my partner, or no longer want to know me. And at the beginning, they see that I either try to convince them, or I am sad, or I am not well. That person obviously knows that my intention is, hey, I do want to be with you, and if you change your mind, I am here. And for a while, even if we are not constantly letting them know that we are still there, if our energy is stagnant, if we try not to do anything so that this person, if they want to come back, finds it easy, right? Because sometimes we really believe, hey, it's important for this person first, it's important for them to see that I'm not doing anything with anyone, right? So they don't feel that I'm being unfaithful or that they are not my partner. Second, I want them to know and be certain of what I feel. It shouldn't be that their fear of exposing themselves to my rejection is what holds them back. Feeling exposed, they should know that no, that the doors are open here, that they just have to take small steps to approach me again, and that everything is fine. So we want to offer that security, and we want to keep everything static. It's like, to a certain extent, it's like waiting. But there comes a moment when you have to realize, who am I waiting for? How long am I going to wait? Is it fair for me to wait? And maybe that day comes early, right? Which is the day when you say, no, I move on. It's over. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know where this will lead me. But what I am clear about is that I have to make an effort to move forward, right? It's at that moment when you move forward that the other person really can perceive, already being on an energetic level, as we've talked about many times, that something here has changed. It's when that opportunity opens up, that option for that person to face the idea that has previously hurt you so much and has led you to value it so much, which is the idea of losing you, the idea that maybe you're no longer there. That's why, if you think about it coldly, it's not in your interest in any case to wait. I understand that there's an inevitable part of waiting, which is like saying, maybe I need, even if it's just a few days or a couple of weeks, depending on the type of relationship we've had, to process this, right? I need, to digest all of this. Maybe at first, this day I'm in shock, maybe I didn't expect it, maybe it distresses me a lot. I understand that. But once we've done the heavy digestion, the most initial, so to speak, from there, any thought or idea that leads you to think it's a good idea, that somehow you reinforce to this person what you feel, make them see that you're still there, have an approach believing, many times we believe, I think this person does miss me. I think this person still feels, maybe they want to but don't know how, maybe they want to but something is holding them back. But if I approach, if I start a conversation, if they see again how nice it is for us to be in contact, then all those thoughts you have and will come to you, I'm telling you right now, and it's absolutely normal. They don't just come to you, they come to everyone. In the end, unfortunately, your brain is trying to help you, is trying to give you options to get closer to what you desire, but it's sabotaging you, strategically sabotaging you. When you try to make this person reconsider, they might have thoughts that provoke emotions. Thank you. That are the ones you are interested in. The ones that make a person roll up their sleeves and say, I'm going, or at least I'm going to find out, or at least I want to know what's happening, or I contact you. The thoughts you want to provoke those emotions arise from. The sooner you can move forward with your life, the better. Truly, the sooner you understand that the key is not to wait for anyone. On the contrary, the key is to take action and say, I move forward. Better. And the best way to show someone that you are moving forward is by not focusing your attention on that person, not taking any action, direct or indirect, that you know is directed towards that person. That's the rule, right? Before acting, ask yourself, for whom am I doing this? If I am doing it for this person, I don't do it. Notice something very curious, right? That is seen in practice. There are people who, instead of taking actions to get closer, are very provocative, right? It's like, okay, if you don't want to be with me anymore, now I'm going to provoke in you. I'm going to try to provoke those thoughts in you that lead to those emotions, right? They try to be strategic. Be careful. There are people with whom this works, especially if perhaps it was a relationship where there was a certain possession, a certain sense of possession, a longer relationship. This person really, even though they have left us, they still want to have some control and are short-tempered, a bit naive, and fall into these cases. But normally this doesn't work. So we see in practice that people who are provocative, and what they do is share many stories like, well, those who couldn't when they wanted, no, won't be able to when they want, I don't know what, I'm already moving forward. Posts where they make themselves look very attractive, showing that they are going out, that they are living life, even hinting in posts. That is, trying to provoke jealousy, trying to imply, just so you know, that I'm already moving on. But they are not really moving on. Why? Because all their energy and attention is still focused on that person, and all their actions are aimed at trying to provoke this person to come and seek them out. So it doesn't work, and suddenly one day they truly get fed up and decide to move on. That is, they no longer focus their attention on this person. And this person finally seeks them out, reacts, and they are very surprised. It's like, I don't understand what's happening, Amanda, when they lost me. When I was showing them that they had lost me, there was no reaction, and now that I don't care anymore. No, it's not that you don't care anymore now. It's now that finally, in a real way, not pretended, you have taken away all your energy from them. You have taken away all your attention. You are focusing on yourself and moving forward. That is, when you have stopped the theatrics, the charades, what happens is that you believe that the theatrics or the charades or those people thought it was very effective. So it's like, why? If I'm showing you that I'm living my life, why don't you react? Why do you react now that I don't care? Because finally now, maybe a few weeks have passed and this person is surprised. How strange, I'm not seeing posts that aim to provoke anything. It doesn't seem like I'm receiving any indirect messages. Somehow in the energy, I feel that there's something strange. I'm lacking energy. I used to have like extra energy, like a thought that I no longer have. I feel like I'm losing something and I don't know what it is, but I think about that person. They perceive it, they notice it. It's there when you decide it's over. I am no longer waiting to provoke a miracle in you to influence what you have to think. I am finally thinking about myself. Thinking about what I can do to feel better again, how my life will be without you being a part of it, not putting myself in the most pessimistic scenario, but trusting that I will do well, looking to do things and make plans that excite me, wanting precisely not to get stuck, because everything that is staying stuck ultimately also prevents me from moving forward, because they are things that remind me of you, but precisely not avoiding at all costs, as this is not good either. But yes, changing my routines and habits a bit, so as not to have you on my mind all day. And I know that you especially like us to also focus on what is going through that person's mind, and I understand. Let's see, obviously every person is different, but here we are going to speak in general terms. One of the things that happens in most scenarios without fail is that at the moment when you move on and they have to face the idea or the doubt that you might no longer be willing to want to be with them, that it might no longer be your desire, that even if they come looking for you, there is a chance that you have already moved on. Your feelings have changed. You feel less, or you are no longer willing to return, or there is someone new you are getting to know. At that moment, as I said, what will definitely happen is that doubts will arise. But not only doubts about what you want, but, and these doubts interest you much more, doubts about whether to make them fall. They did well. In the case that someone has left you, I guarantee that at that moment, they will be considering, and not before, whether it was truly a good choice if they didn't mess it up. What would their life be like if they hadn't left? If they didn't mess up, that's when we question ourselves. They will also be a bit surprised because there's a part that seems like, especially if we are dealing with someone proud, more arrogant. There are people who truly believe that we are going to be there until the end of days, right? That it's like, I can always go back to an ex. No, sorry, it depends on the ex. Emotionally healthy people who love themselves overcome situations, process their emotions, and close the door. And with a closed door, you don't enter, right? So, as I say, certainly, and when we are dealing with someone who hasn't been our partner, their doubts usually don't revolve so much around whether they did the right thing by letting this be, but evidently revolve more around whether they could have put in a bit more effort, if it was a good idea to appear so haughty and about the concept they have of themselves. Especially if this has been an unbalanced situation and you have helped this person a lot to boost their ego, you have helped a lot to reinforce it. Their self-esteem, at the moment you move forward and they no longer have that support, that backing from you, and you show them that you are capable of being without them, suddenly it's like a scratch to their security, to their false security, that concept of themselves they have, right? To that part where they believe that indeed you were always going to be there, attentive and always willing, right? It's like, no matter what happens, there are people we trust will be there, right? If things go really bad for me, Pepito and Julita will always get excited to receive a message. Well, hey, no. Now get used to the idea that you might send me a message, and what I'm going to do is leave you on read, just like you've done many times. And not out of revenge, but because I'm no longer interested. You have to move on, and if you can, even show them that you're doing better without them. It's sad, but that's how we function. And that is to say, when we appeal to emotion at a time when what's failing is attraction. That is, we have a table that's wobbling because one of the legs isn't holding up, and we try to put the missing support on the wrong leg. And what happens? Imagine it like this. Please visualize it. Imagine that table and I have one of the legs shorter and I want to fix it. So I take the wedge and put it under a leg that's fine. And I raise it even more. What happens? Well, that table is going to wobble even more. That's what happens when someone rejects you because there was a lack of attraction, or when a partner leaves you because they believe their life will be better without you, even though it sounds harsh to hear, but that's how it is. What leads us to leave a person is when we evaluate our life and come to the conclusion that we can do better without them, that things will go better for us, that we will progress more, that we will meet someone who interests us more. That's how it is, right? When we truly feel that we no longer feel the same, that this no longer motivates us, in other words, the attraction fails. Or, when we have been in an unbalanced relationship, this person has been chasing after me, I've lost respect for them, the attraction fails. This person has lost attraction, and that's the missing piece. Unless, of course, it's someone who leaves you because you're not showing them any feelings, or you're neglecting the relationship. In that case, yes, there would be a lack of feeling, a lack of commitment. You will know it there. Or that person will let you know, hey, look, I'm leaving because I see that you don't feel what you should feel. In that case, yes, we would need to nurture the feeling aspect. But normally, in most cases, you know that this person is lacking attraction. So you go. And you try to make them see that you love them despite everything. You try to reach out to her again, right? Maybe you hold out for some time and one day, which is important for that person, you think, what the heck? I want her to see that no matter what happens, she can count on me, and you go and look for her. That is to say, you place that wedge in the feeling and appeal to the emotion. And it doesn't work, and it doesn't work because the attraction doesn't get restored. Do you know when attraction gets restored? When the other person doubts whether they've messed up, doubts whether they've lost a good opportunity. They see you living your life, moving forward and doing better, right? They fear seeing you holding hands with someone else. That's how we function. Couples don't get back together because they realize we love them no matter what, because they suspect we're suffering, right? Because they realize that in the end, they've lost someone who loves them more than anyone else, who is there despite everything. No, they come back when they realize you're no longer chasing after them, when they're worried that you're closing the door on them, when they fear that someone new is taking advantage of the opportunity they missed, especially if they feel that you're doing better than before, that the opportunity has brought improvements. That's when we come back. That's how we are. Why? Because all of that, no longer feeding the person's ego, no longer chasing after them, showing them that you can move on with your life or even with someone new, all of that restores respect and attraction. In other words, we fix the leg that was limping. And once it stops limping, the other legs come into play. If we are compatible, if this is feasible, what we have been able to experience, the potential we really have as a leg, they have already come into play. But the good thing is that we have balanced the problem where it was. The problem that didn't allow that table, or in this case, this connection or relationship, thank you, to be functional. When someone rejects you, no matter how hard it is, don't try to appeal to their feelings. Don't try to make it easy for them to come back. Don't try to convince the person. Don't chase them. Don't contact them. When someone rejects you, regardless of the circumstances, at that moment realize that as soon as they said to move on, I don't stop, I don't pause, I don't provoke you, I don't try to influence what you think. The best way to make an impact is to show you that I am going to continue with my life. Truly, it's the most powerful and effective thing you can do for this person to start respecting you again, to have doubts, to become curious, to reestablish attraction, and to seek you out, and have the courage to ignore their attempts, please. Sometimes we resist a lot and receive the first message. I am afraid that if I don't respond, they won't insist anymore. I'm just scared. And aren't you afraid, as you should be much more afraid, of throwing away all the effort by showing them that you're still there, ready at the first opportunity, making it easy for them? Have courage. Make this time different. Go all out. Be aware of what you deserve and don't. Accept less. Well, I hope this video helps you and that you liked it. If that's the case and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, of course, I invite you to do so, to hit the bell, because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.